Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Haryana and Punjab tomorrow to dedicate important health facilities to the nation. Prime Minister to address grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2022 on the 25th of this month. BJP suspends its Telangana MLA T. Raja Singh for his controversial remarks against a particular religion. Government terminates 3 officials held responsible for March's accidental firing of Brahmos missile. Country's aviation sector to see 400 million air travellers in the next 7 to 10 years, says Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia. Supreme Court refers political dispute between 2 factions of Shiv Sena to Constitution Bench. Normal life affected due to heavy rain in several districts of Madhya Pradesh. Incessant rainfall caused a flood-like situation in Kota and adjoining areas in Rajasthan. China announces that it will issue visas to Indian students waiting for over 2 years to return to universities due to COVID restrictions. India's ace shuttler Saina Nehwal storms into pre-quarterfinals of BWF World Championship in Tokyo. And in Duran Cup, Bengaluru FC trounces Indian Air Force FT by 4-0 at Kishore Bharati Stadium in Kolkata. Odisha FC defeats Kerala Blasters by 2-0 at Indira Gandhi Stadium in Guwahati. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate medical facilities at Faridabad in Haryana and at Mullanpur in SAS Nagar district of Punjab to the nation tomorrow. In the morning, he will inaugurate the Amrita Hospital built in an area of 133 acres with an estimated expenditure of 6,000 crore rupees in Faridabad. Many dignitaries, including the Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal, will be present on the occasion. A report.
The hospital, founded by Mata Amrita Nandamayi Amma, is the largest and state-of-the-art hospital in the region. Haryana Chief Minister said that with the opening of this hospital, not only the health facilities available to the people of the state will increase, but people from neighbouring states will also be benefited. Prime Minister Modi will also visit Punjab and inaugurate the Homi Bhabha Cancer Hospital and Research Centre built on an around 50 acres area at Mullanpur in Punjab. The 300-bedded hospital and research centre built at a cost of around 684 crore rupees to provide cancer treatment facility to the people of northern India and would bolster the cost-effective cancer treatment in the state. In view of the Prime Minister's visit, the security has been tightened in the state. Navbanita Adhikari, AIR News.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the grand finale of the Smart India Hackathon 2022 on the 25th of this month through video conferencing. The hackathon is a nationwide initiative to provide students a platform to solve the pressing problems of society, organizations and government. It is the world's biggest open innovation platform aimed at inculcating the culture of product innovation, problem solving and out-of-the-box thinking among students. In this edition of Smart India Hackathon Grand Finale, over 15,000 students and over 2,500 mentors will participate. It has been the constant endeavour of the Prime Minister to promote a spirit of innovation in the country, especially among the youth. With this vision in mind, Smart India Hackathon was started in 2017.
BJP has suspended party's Telangana MLA T. Raja Singh over his controversial remarks, saying that the views expressed by him is contrary to the party's position on various matters and is in clear violation of BJP's constitution. The party Central Disciplinary Committee has asked him to reply within 10 days as to why should he not be expelled from the party. Earlier today, he was booked for his alleged derogatory comments against a particular religion. BJP President JP Nadda today condemned the arrest of party's Telangana chief Bandi Sanjay Kumar. In a series of tweets, Mr. Nadda alleged that the Telangana government is worried seeing the massive support that BJP is receiving from all corners of the state against his corrupt and family-centric regime. He said his party will fight democratically and ensure that in the coming elections, TRS and K. Chandrasekhar Rao will be wiped out. Mr. Kumar was arrested in Jangaon following his call for statewide protest against the arrest of BJP workers a day earlier outside ruling TRS MLC K. Kavita's residence in Hyderabad.
The government has terminated the service of 3 Indian Air Force officers in the matter of accidental firing of a Brahmos missile into Pakistan. The incident happened in March this year. In a statement, Indian Air Force said a court of inquiry was set up to establish the facts of the case, including fixing responsibility for the incident. The inquiry found deviation from the standard operating procedures by 3 officers, which led to the accidental firing of the missile. In the court of inquiry, 3 officers have primarily been held responsible for the incident. Earlier, taking a serious view of the accidental firing of a Brahmos missile into Pakistan, the government had ordered a high-level court of inquiry. Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Sindhya has said that the civil aviation sector in the country is witnessing the paradigm shift in terms of numbers of airports and fleet of aircrafts. Mr. Sindhya was delivering the keynote address at the CEO's roundtable discussion on the roadmap for robust growth over next decade in New Delhi today. He said Indian aviation sector has attained the pre-COVID level of air travellers per day, which was over 4 lakh then and is now closely competing with Indian Railways in the air conditioner segment of travelling.
In the last 8 years, especially in our sector, we have seen unprecedented transformative reforms take place. And these reforms have created sustainable opportunities for new investments. And the focus of these reforms has been to unleash our indomitable spirit.
Proceeding when such proceedings had been initiated against him. In this context, the bench expressed doubts about the law laid down in the 2016 decision in the Navam Rabia case that a speaker cannot initiate disqualification proceedings when his removal is sought. The bench, comprising CJI Ramanna, Justice Hema Kohli and Justice Krishna Murari, also directed the Election Commission not to proceed on an appeal made by Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde's camp seeking recognition as the true Shiv Sena party and the use of bow and arrow emblem until Thursday. The Supreme Court has struck down one of the provisions of the Benami Transactions Prohibition Act of 1988, which provides for the punishment of a maximum jail term of 3 years or a fine or both of those indulging in Benami transactions. The Apex Court termed the provision unconstitutional on the ground of being manifestly arbitrary. A bench comprising Chief Justice N.V. Ramanna and Justices C.T. Ravikumar and Hema Kohli said that the court holds Section 3(2) of the Benami Transactions Prohibition Act 1988 as unconstitutional. The verdict came on the appeal of the centre challenging the Calcutta High Court judgment, in which it was held that the amendment made in the 1988 Act in 2016 would be applicable with prospective effect. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Haryana and Punjab tomorrow to dedicate important health facilities to the nation. Prime Minister to address grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2022 on 25th of this month. BJP suspends its Telangana MLA T. Raja Singh for his controversial remarks against a particular religion. Government terminates 3 officials held responsible for March's accidental firing of Brahmos missile. Country's aviation sector to see 400 million air travellers in next 7 to 10 years, says Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Sindhya. Supreme Court refers political dispute between 2 factions of Shiv Sena to Constitution bench. Normal life affected due to heavy rains in several districts of Madhya Pradesh. Incessant rainfall caused a flood-like situation in Kota and adjoining areas in Rajasthan. China announces that it will issue visas to India students waiting for over 2 years to return to universities due to COVID restrictions. India's ace shuttler Saina Nehwal storms into pre-quarterfinals of BWF World Championship in Tokyo, and in Durand Cup, Bengaluru FC trounces Indian Air Force FT by 4-0 at Kishore Bharti Stadium in Kolkata. Odisha FC defeated Kerala Blasters by 2-0 at Indira Gandhi Stadium in Guwahati. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथभाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back. You're listening to the evening news. Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we bring you the story of the Prime Ministers of India who served the nation from the 15th of August 1947 to 14 January 1980.
The Prime Minister is the executive head of the Government of India. Since 1947, India has had 15 Prime Ministers. Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister. He served from 15th of August 1947 till 27th of May 1964.
I, Jawaharlal Nehru, do solemnly affirm that in the office of Minister I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, and that I will do right to all manner of people after the laws and usages of India without fear or favour, affection or ill will.
Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Prime Minister from 9th of June 1964 to 11th January 1966.
ये जो स्वराज्य आया है उसे हम मजबूती से अपने पास रखेंगे ताकि कोई दूसरा हमारी तरफ टेढ़ी नजर भी उठाकर देखे तो हम उसका पूरी तरह से मुकाबला कर सकें। मैं आपसे कहूंगा कि दो नारे आज लगें, एक तो जय जवान का और दूसरा जय किसान का। ये दो नारे मैं समझता हूं कि आज हमारे देश के लिए जरूरी है, एक जय जवान और एक जय किसान, और फिर उसी से सारे देश का एक जय हिंद का नारा लगता है।
Gulzari Lal Nanda was the acting Prime Minister from 27th of May 1964 to 9th of June 1964 and again from 11 January 1966 to 24 January 1966. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister from 24th January 1966 to 24th March 1977 and again from 14 January 1980 to 31st October 1984.
I, Indira Gandhi, do solemnly affirm that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties as a Minister for the Union, and that I will do right to all manner of people in accordance with the Constitution and the law, without fear or favour, affection or ill will.
Morarji Desai was sworn in as the Prime Minister on 24th of March 1977 and continued till 28th of July 1979.
तभी ही हमने वादा किया था कि ये संगठन चुनाव के बाद जल्दी ही हम बना देंगे और जनता के सामने हम पेश करेंगे। वो वादा हम 1 महीने में ही पूरा कर सके हैं
Charan Singh held the post from 28th of July 1979 to 14 January 1980.
हमारा विश्वास यह है कि महात्मा जी की शिक्षा पर चल रहे करी देश में, इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय जगत में, इंटरनेशनल वर्ल्ड में, इस दुनिया में शांति कायम हो सकती है और लोगों को सुख मिल। आज नहीं कल नहीं परसों दुनिया इसी नतीजे पर पहुंचेगी।
In tomorrow's episode, we will bring you the story of the Prime Ministers who served the nation from 14th of January 1980 to 19th of March 1998. Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke saath can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR Official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune into All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke saath. Bharatiya Janata Party today alleged that the AAP government in Delhi did not act on Excise Department's notice on common producers, retailers and distributors in violation of excise policy. Addressing the media in Delhi, party spokesman Sudhanshu Trivedi said the excise policy stated that producers, retailers and distributors should not be common.
आबकारी नीति का सबसे बड़ा नीतिगत विषय ये था कि उत्पादक वितरक एक समान नहीं होने चाहिए, क्योंकि इससे यह संभावना रहती है कि वो बाजार में अपना एकाधिपत्य बनाकर आगे जाकर मनचाहे तरीके से दामों को प्रभावित कर सकते हैं। जवाब हमें आबकारी पे चाहिए, न ईमानदारी की बात करिए, न बिरादरी की बात करिए।
BJP also said the expert committee was against promotions to push liquor sales, but Arvind Kejriwal government gave a carton free on every carton sold. Meanwhile, AAP has accused BJP of trying to bring down the Kejriwal government in Delhi. Briefing media, party leader Atishi said due procedures were followed and everything was done in a transparent manner under the excise policy.
Defence Research and Development Organisation and Indian Navy successfully flight tested vertical launch short-range surface-to-air missile VLSRSAM today. The missile was tested from the integrated test range at Chandipur off the coast of Odisha. This missile has been indigenously designed and developed by DRDO. The flight test was carried out from an Indian naval ship against a high-speed unmanned aerial target for demonstration of vertical launch capability. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has complimented DRDO, Indian Navy and associated teams on the successful flight trial of missile. He said the missile will prove to be a force multiplier for the Indian Navy. Enforcement Directorate ED has arrested 4 persons in connection with the over 600 crore rupees bank fraud case. All those arrested are directors and employees of the Sri Banke Bihari Exports Limited company. The ED said during the investigation the team found the shell entities were created in the names of different persons by the directors of the company. It said the accused were doing bogus sales and purchases transactions to the fake company. ED initiated a money laundering investigation on the basis of an FIR registered by the Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, in Delhi.
In Madhya Pradesh, incessant rain for the last 3 days has created a flood situation in many areas. Today the rain has stopped, but the rivers are in spate due to the continuous opening of the gates of all the major dams.
Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan reviewed the flood situation in the state in a high-level meeting today. After the meeting, he said in a video message that no stone would be left unturned in the relief and rescue operations. 25 villages in Vidisha and Guna districts have been submerged in flood, while in Rajgarh, 500 pupils have been accommodated in 8 relief camps. The water level of Kali Sindh, Parvati and Chambal rivers is also being continuously monitored by the administration. NDRF and SDRF teams are continuously engaged in the rescue operations. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Rajasthan, life has been badly affected due to 4 heavy rains in Kota division. Although there has been some reduction in rainfall in the Kota division today, many villages are still submerged. Road traffic has been affected in many places and connectivity with many villages has been cut off. More from a correspondent.
There is a flood-like situation in Kota, Jhalawad, Bara and Bundi districts. The low-lying areas are submerged. Hundreds of homes and commercial establishments have been flooded. Jhalawad district administration has declared a holiday in schools till 26 August. Due to heavy rains in Madhya Pradesh, huge amount of water is being released from Rana Pratap Sagar, Jawahar Sagar and Kota Beraj Dam on Chambal River. Due to this, apart from Kota, Chambal River is also flowing above the Banjar Marg in Karavli, Savai Madhopur and Dholpur district. NDRF, SDRF and civil defense teams are engaged in relief and rescue operations in the affected areas. Jitendra Dwivedi, EIR News, Jaipur.
In Odisha, the flood situation in the northern part has improved, with the water level falling in all major rivers. However, reports say there are still many villages which are waterlogged. The flood water has caused extensive damage to the standing crops and kacha houses in districts like Balasore. Even before flood water has fully drained off the villages in North Odisha districts, it has rushed into the meteorological department, has predicted yet another spell of heavy to very heavy rainfall in many districts of the state, including the northern districts like Balasore, Mayurbhanj, Jajpur and Keonjhar during the next 24 hours. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur fiercely targeted the Delhi government on the issue of the liquor scam. Addressing media in Hamirpur, Himachal Pradesh, Mr. Thakur said Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia are keeping silence on the liquor scam. He said earlier Kejriwal had also given clean chit to his health minister, but today he is behind the bars. While responding Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's tweet on drugs in Gujarat, the minister said that the central government has taken strict action against the drug mafia. Earlier participating in the program on celebration of 75 years of Himachal's formation, he said the youth and new generation should also be aware of the heroic stories of freedom fighters who contributed to the independence of the country.
Bihar Assembly Speaker Vijay Kumar Sinha today rejected no confidence notice which was given by the ruling RJD-led Grand Alliance. Talking to reporters, Mr. Sinha said that the notice was not as per norms of the constitutional provisions. He said the tenor of the notice is akin to casting aspersions against the chair. The Speaker said he will not resign from the post. One-day special session of the Bihar Assembly has been convened tomorrow. Nitish Kumar-led government will prove its majority on the floor of the House on the 24th of this month. In Uttarakhand, the work of the Rishikesh-Karnaprayag rail line project is going on a war footing. The work of the rail tunnel being built between Narkota and Khankra has been completed today. More than 400 engineers and experts are employed to build the tunnel. The length of the tunnel is over 1 kilometer. The Rishikesh-Karnaprayag rail line also includes Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ambitious Char Dham railway project, majorly aims to connect the 4 dhams, including Kedarnath, Badrinath, Gangotri and Yamunotri.
China has announced that it will issue visas to Indian students who have been waiting for over 2 years to return to their Chinese universities due to COVID restrictions. The announcement made on the website of Chinese Embassy in New Delhi said that the updated allocation procedures will be effective from 24th of this month, which will be applicable to various categories of Indian travellers, including students, businessmen and families of those working in China. However, tourist visa is not yet allowed. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has reached Sashkant in Uzbekistan to attend the SCO Defence Ministers meeting. During his visit, Mr. Singh will hold bilateral meetings with Uzbekistan's Defence Minister, Lieutenant General Vakhudir Kurbanov. He will also meet with the Defence Minister of member countries of SCO. Various bilateral and issues of mutual interest will be discussed in the meetings. During his stay, Mr. Singh will pay homage at the monument of late Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri and also meet Indian diaspora in Uzbekistan.
London Olympic bronze medalist shuttler Saina Nehwal produced a fine performance to kick off a BWF World Championships campaign with a straight game win over Hong Kong's Chung Nhan Yi. A former world number 1, Saina took 38 minutes to dispatch Nhan Yi 21-19, 21-9 in the opening round. The 32-year-old Indian, who has a silver and a bronze from the Worlds, thus moved into the pre-quarterfinals as a second-round opponent. Nozomi Okuhara pulled out of the tournament due to an injury, giving the Indian a bye. In Durand Cup, Bangalore FC trounces Indian Air Force FT by 4-0 at the Kishore Bharati Stadium in Kolkata. Odisha FC defeated Kerala Blasters by 2-0 at the Indira Gandhi Stadium in Guwahati.
The Sensex and the Nifty today gained around 0.5%. Both key domestic stock indices rose even as the cues from the global share markets were negative. The Sensex finished above 59,000 mark, while the Nifty ended above the 17,500 level. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex climbed 257 points or 0.44% to finish at 59,031. The Nifty appreciated 87 points or 0.5% to settle at 17,578. At the forex market, the rupee remained almost unchanged at 79 rupees and 87 paise against the dollar. At the multi-commodity exchange, gold futures for October was trading at 51,200 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures for September was trading at 54,760 rupees per kilo when reports last came in. And global crude oil prices rose more than 1%. Brent crude was trading at $98.50 per barrel. Rajesh Lake, AIR News.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Indian wrestling team on winning 16 medals at the Under-20 World Championships in Sofia, Bulgaria. In a tweet, he said, "Our wrestlers make us proud again." Mr. Modi said this is India's best ever performance. It also shows the future of Indian wrestling is in safe hands. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Thakur today praised chess player and Grandmaster R. Pragnananda for defeating five-time world champion Magnus Carlsen at the FTX Crypto Cup tournament. In a tweet, Mr. Thakur said defeating Magnus Carlsen thrice in 6 months is a remarkable feat.
The Indian Coast Guard rescued 32 Bangladeshi fishermen and handed over to their Bangladeshi counterparts on Tuesday. The operation is in line with the Memorandum of Understanding between the two Coast Guards. In a statement, the government says that the Indian Coast Guard ship Varad rescued the fishermen after the boats capsized at the Indo-Bangla International Maritime Boundary Line and handed over them safely to Bangladesh Coast Guard ship Tajuddin. Bangladesh Coast Guard thanked the Indian Coast Guard for saving the lives of Bangladeshi fishermen. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is expected to have generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius, while a maximum of around 34 degrees. Mumbai is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 31 degrees. Kolkata is expected to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 33 degrees. Chennai will witness thunderstorm with the rain. The minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 35 degrees. Srinagar is expected to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The temperature will be between 20 and 26 degrees Celsius, while Muzaffarabad will experience temperatures between 23 and 33 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 31 degrees. Leh will have partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 12 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 29 degrees. Gilgit will have generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The minimum temperature will be 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 26 degrees. In the south, Hyderabad will experience generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature will be 23 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 32 degrees. Bangalore and Thiruvananthapuram will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In the northeast, Guwahati will have partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature will be 26 degrees Celsius and maximum of around 35 degrees. Imphal, Aizawl, Shillong, Gangtok, Kohima and Itanagar will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Haryana and Punjab tomorrow to dedicate important health facilities to the nation. Prime Minister to address grand finale of the Smart India Hackathon 2022 on the 25th of this month. BJP suspends his Telangana MLA T. Raja Singh for his controversial remarks against a particular religion. Government terminates 3 officials held responsible for March's accidental firing of Brahmos missile. Country's aviation sector to see 400 million air travellers in next 7 to 10 years, says Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia. Supreme Court refers political dispute between 2 factions of Shiv Sena to Constitution bench. Normal life affected due to heavy rain in several districts of Madhya Pradesh. Incessant rainfall caused a flood-like situation in Kota and adjoining areas in Rajasthan. China announces that it will issue visas to Indian students waiting for over 2 years to return to universities due to COVID restrictions. India's ace shuttler Saina Nehwal storms into the pre-quarterfinals of BWF World Championships in Tokyo. And in Durand Cup, Bengaluru FC trounces Indian Air Force FT by 4-0 at Kishore Bharati Stadium in Kolkata. And with that we end the evening news. Good night.